trying to give you guys some different things to look at, I guess. Dogs are outside. But so I wanted to make this video because kind of going off of what we discussed yesterday is a lot of people just kind of don't really seem to understand that you're going to have to change a little bit to get to where you want to go. You're going to have to be a little selfish. You're going to have to put yourself first, okay? Had I have not put myself first for a little while, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I wouldn't be with the man that I'm with today. I wouldn't be the person that I am today. It took me finally saying, I am sick and tired of what I'm going through. I'm sick and tired of being treated like this. I'm sick and tired of doing this to myself. I'm done. And for some of us, it takes really bad things to happen for us to finally kick it into gear. It's difficult to tap into that when everything is going good. But I was done, okay? The relationships that I was in for a long period of time with two different people were horrible relationships. And after the first one, I had promised myself it wasn't going to happen again. So you can only imagine how I felt when it happened again. Something had to change. And since neither of them were going to, I had to. I had to make the decision to say enough is enough, to start putting myself first, to care more about myself than other people, to get to where I'm at today, to be with the person I'm with today. The only reason I can help you guys through that is because I went through it. I did the work. I did it all on my own. I read a few articles on the internet to try to help me out, but I didn't have friends to talk to about that stuff. I didn't talk to my family about that stuff. I went through all of that stuff pretty much on my own. You don't just wake up one day and have the tools to go through this, right? You go through it day by day and you figure it out. No, nobody is born with this guideline or is born with these rules and stuff about how to get through all these things. No, you just figure it out. Okay? And now if you don't want to take as much time to figure it out as I took, that's why you then get a coach or you go see a counselor or a therapist or you read books and stuff, because they'll help fast track you to the end result from people who have done the work up front. That was not easy. You guys, if you haven't watched the video, I explained it in detail. I was broken. I did not think that there was a way to get to the other side. I didn't think I would ever be a whole individual again. I didn't think I would ever be put back together. I didn't think I was ever going to be in the relationship that I'm in right now. But what it took was me being brutally honest with myself about my part in everything. Because a lot of you sit there and you blame everybody else. What is it that you did? Don't look at what they did, because you can't change that. What did you do? You can adjust and change that. And that's exactly what I did. I don't think you guys understand how many days I sat there and cried. How many days I sat there and was angry with myself for letting it get that far. How many days I was so sad. How many days I was afraid to make the adjustments that I needed to make. That was probably one of the worst things I've ever gone through in my life. But I took the time to finally put myself first. To finally say, screw all of you guys. I'm going to do what I have to do for myself. And some of you haven't done that. Some of you haven't gotten to a point in your life where that is what you have to do. You will either continue to go through life just nonchalantly dealing with the same crap you're dealing with right now for the rest of your life, or at some point something's going to happen And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is something I should have dealt with 30 years ago. This is something I should have worked through 10 years ago. This is something I knew was an issue, but it was easier to ignore it, easier to push it away than to deal with it, right? A lot of you need to learn to deal with it. Deal with the emotions. Deal with the situation. Deal with whatever part you played in that situation. Because everybody plays a part. Even if you technically sat there and did nothing, that was the part you played. Could there have been something you would have done instead? Could there have been a better way to handle that than just shutting up and taking it? You have to put yourself first, okay? Pretty much always. And whatever that's going to take for you to finally realize that, a lot of you, it's going to be something bad happening, or some really bad emotions you have to dig up from the past in order to finally get through that. Some of you will never get through that. So you will never live a life of joy and fulfillment, happiness, success, love, all of that, because you're harboring those negative emotions. You think that you have gotten rid of them, but no, they're chilling in a bottle inside you. That's not good. You gotta open up that bottle and let it out, let it go. Deal with it and let it go and move on. Your life it'll literally be like a day and night difference when you start putting yourself first. You have to understand that you are number one above anybody and anything else, okay? We're not discussing religion. We're not discussing this weird family dynamic of the man is first or God is first and I'm last kind of thing. No. You are number one. You should be the most important thing in your life. You should be the person that you put first always. Because once you put yourself first, then making those other decisions are going to be easier. Because you're going to know what it is that you want to do and don't want to do. What it is that you're willing to sacrifice and not willing to sacrifice. All these things will become so much more clear when you start putting yourself first. When you silence everybody else's thoughts and emotions, and even sometimes your own conscious thoughts and emotions, and really sit there and put yourself first. Once you're first and you're whole and your life has drastically changed, it's going to positively impact everybody else around you. And that's like one of the ultimate goals, right? You can't continue to positively impact everybody else and take care of them and put them first without taking care of yourself first. Okay? I want some of you guys to understand that you are the most important person in your life. Just think about that for a little bit. I get it. Some of you are like, no, my kids are the most important thing to me in my life. I'm going to put my kids first. There's a difference in putting your kids first after yourself. We're not counting yourself in that equation. You should be number one to you. And then after that, who is number one? If that's your kids, okay. If that's your husband, okay. But there's a difference in having them being number one because you're whole and you can pour that into them versus them being number one and you're neglecting yourself. And you're not feeding your soul. You're not taking care of your physical appearance and your mental health because you're putting them before you. I know that some of you will disagree with that you think that your kids should always be put above you, even at the expense of yourself. But I'm telling you, it shouldn't be like that. Your kids are going to see that as they get older. They're going to notice these things as they get older. They might not really realize it until their late teens, early 20s, because there's a lot of things from my childhood that I didn't realize until a little later. Because when you're a kid, you don't understand those things. But as you get older, you're like, wow. Maybe if my mom would have taken care of her mental health a little bit more, she would have been able to help us better. Maybe if my mom would have gone through the necessary steps of getting rid of stuff from her past and stuff from her parents, maybe she would have been able to help us better. But she didn't. But she also didn't put us first either. There's a lot of emotional neglect there. A lot of, and again, it's one of those things you don't quite realize when you're a child. And as you get older, you understand those things more. And it kind of makes you look at that person a little differently. And not saying that I don't like my mom, but there are a lot of things that she could have done differently. And she can't go back and change that. She can't go back and fix that. The past is the past. What's done is done. You can only move on from here. But what some of you also don't understand is your kids might not be so forgiving. I'm sitting here telling you, yes, we need to forgive, we need to let go and move on, and we do. Obviously, not everybody's going to actually do that. And some of you need to understand that the decisions you're making right now, how they're impacting the people around you. Again, if you're okay with the decisions you are making, like we discussed before, and you don't care, you're okay with, you've made peace with the consequences that might come from that, then by all means do it. But just also understand that those around you might look at you differently. And if you don't care about that, then again, by all means, do it. Do it. If that's what's going to make you happy, go ahead and do it. But then later on in life, when you want to build that solid connection, when you want to change in a sense, don't assume that they're going to be willing to meet you there, because they likely won't. Some people will. Some people, hey, I understand you did what you had to do. We're good to go. Don't worry about it. But other people are going to take that much more personally. And so we have to be, aware of those things. But that's the end of my video. I just had to get that out. I had to let you guys know and have you guys understand that you need to put yourself first more, okay? And again, there's a difference between putting yourself first and selfish in the sense of only caring about yourself and only taking care of yourself and neglecting everybody else. There's a difference there, okay? So I want you guys to really think about what that difference might be. What does that difference look like for you? Because it's going to vary person to person. Some people, they hear the word selfish and they just think, oh, they only care about themselves. Some people hear the word selfish and they think, oh, they're going to do whatever it takes. They're going to lie to you. They're going to cheat to you. They're going to do all these things because they're so selfish. Some people, it's, oh, they'll only buy things for themselves. They're very materialistic. They don't care about you. That's not necessarily the selfish we're referring to, okay? Put yourself first more often. Think about what it is that you want to do, that you want to say, and just watch how things start changing. for now, that is the end of my video. I am so hungry, so I'm gonna, I don't know, make some little burgers and do my accounting homework. So I'll see you guys in the next one.